Hey guys, Chase with EOTECH. So, .308 battle rifles have always been pretty cool, but a big problem is they've always been pretty expensive. Exhibit A. However, the PSA JAKL and .308 just dropped, and so what we're talking about today is, can you get into a quality, modern .308 battle rifle for less money, and really, is it actually just as good? Let's talk about it. So, .308 battle rifles, they've always been pretty cool, but they've always been pretty expensive. Over the years, you've had various iterations where it's kind of a scaled up AR-15, and those have always had drawbacks. Modern manufacturing, modern design has come a long way, and it gave us the SCAR. Problem with the SCAR is, it's really expensive. Now we have a new option. PSA just dropped the .308 JAKL. And options are great. Unless you're talking about optics, you have no option there. You're gonna buy EOTECH and you're gonna put EOTECH on your new .308 battle rifle. The question we're talking about today is, which one of these do you really want? So let's start with the SCAR and what optics we have on this. So up here, we've got our 3.5 to 18, it's Voodoo, first focal plane, and it is a fantastic piece of glass. It's on a ScalarWorks mount, which has the offset here where we've got the E-Flex. This is a great all-around setup. And the reason that I built it this way is that I can use this for observation. Longer range shooting, it is just a 16-inch barrel, but I still got plenty of velocity with a lot of different .308 loads to reach out and touch anything I want to on the East Coast. And that's one option. The next option over here, if I can get this to balance, and well, we're gonna go on that journey together, is the, maybe, stay put, stop it, thank you, is HWS. This is an XPS 3 with a G43 magnifier. Again, similar idea, different execution, right? So we flip it to the side, you've got your short range holographic weapon sight, boom, magnifier goes up. Now you've got long range observation and increased accuracy at range. Overall, same kind of principles, and we just executed in two different ways. So those are the optics we have on the guns. And the reason, like I said, that we did that is that we can go ahead and shoot close, fast, and we can stretch out at distance because we're shooting .308, and that's a fun thing to do. So let's actually talk about features of the guns and how the guns actually shoot. Oh, by the way, you may have heard that the SCAR and potentially the JAKL eats optics, but because you're discerning and buy EOTECH, you don't have to worry about that. Voodoo, E-Flex, HWS, all of these will absorb .308 recoil, no problem. So get out there and get shooting. All right, enough standing around. Let's head to the range, see how these things shoot, and talk about their features. My leg hurts. I was talking to you all the way down there. All right, so we're gonna start with the SCAR. It's been around for a long time, been in a lot of different conflicts all over the world. It's put in some good work. Some of you may have shot it. It's a fun gun. It's pretty accurate, and it's really expensive. Let's do this thing. First thing you'll probably notice with the SCAR is the trigger's pretty good. Definitely good enough for taking accurate long-range shots, and you can shoot pretty quick. The newer models don't have a reciprocating charging handle. This one still does because it's actually one of the original Belgian ones. Lightweight, plenty of modularity. As you can see, we put all kinds of doodads on this bad boy. And the recoil is not bad. It is .308. It's a little stouter, obviously, than 5.56, but very manageable if you're going to need to shoot it close and quickly, but not so bad, especially in the prone, that you're not going to be able to do good rapid follow-up shots if that's your thing. But that's a quick overview of the SCAR, and like I said, we all know about this thing. Let's check out the JAKL. So the JAKL, it's new, it's hot, it's awesome, it's .308.
It's free real estate.
Let's see how it shoots. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty fun. Recoil is very comparable to the SCAR. It's similar weight. This gun, as you see it set up, is actually lighter than my SCAR. That's just because of the accessories, but bare gun, similar weight. Obviously it takes the, the PMags, very similar controls, not ambi, but they are a little bit more low profile. And when I've been doing some of my cool LARPing in the woods, I have noticed that my SCAR controls tend to snag on gear a little bit sometimes. Charging handle is non-reciprocating, and it's a little bit farther up, as you can see, which I like more with a more modern hands forward shooting position. It's more kind of right there, which I find to be pretty useful. Obviously, we got M-LOK all the way out and the adjustable gas block. So overall, this thing is shooting pretty well. We're gonna go lay down and test how well I can actually put down rapid follow-up shots through the magnifier and the Voodoo. So let's do it after I spend like another $3 in ammo real quick. Right, on to more shooting. Oh, hey, you guys want to shoot some guns? All right, let's do that. So starting off, we're gonna do a little bit of shooting with the JAKL with the magnifier down. Now, a couple of things here. One, we're not running a bipod on the JAKL. This is set up more of like your heavy fighting rifle that you might see in some modern conflicts in Europe right now. So the eye relief is gonna be a little bit different. The stability is gonna be a little bit different than when we get off the SCAR. So we're not saying this is an apples to apples comparison. That's not the point of this video. It's really just to highlight the different features, similarities in the guns, and ultimately we'll talk about total value to you guys, because that's really what matters. So let's start off here with the JAKL, and we're just gonna do some pairs and yeah, see how the recoil feels, see how well I can track the optic or the reticle through the optic and get repeatable shots. One thing to note when you're doing this is build a good position so you can absorb that recoil. Okay, let's do this again. Use take 2. Okay, so to my calibrated Mark 1 ear, that is probably just right around a second in between rounds, and that's about the best I can do with what I'm gonna say is responsible, well-aimed fire. Again, no bipod, just shooting off of my elbows. So let's move over to the SCAR. We know this is gonna be a little bit more stable because of the bipod, but the eye relief is going to be a little less forgiving on the magnified optic. I do have it at 3.5 power. So fighting a little bit worse or less forgiving eye relief here than we do with the G43, but we got more stability. So be interested to see how this goes. So in what is probably a surprise to none of you, I do feel like I can get slightly faster shots here with the SCAR. Not necessarily an unexpected result. And again, the difference in recoil between these guns is absolutely negligible. So we're shooting, just so you know, 175 grains. They are the AAC 175s and open tip match. So those rounds are cooking. Again, this is just a quick sort of side by side on, you know, how these guns perform in a slightly more what we might call like DMR role. So now let's move to the actual nuts and bolts of these guns. All right, so we've seen how they shoot. Let's actually get into, like I said, the nuts and bolts of these guns. So to start off with the SCAR. Now, I was lucky enough to go to a SCAR Armorer's course a few years ago with FN, and I have to admit, I'm a fan of the engineering of this rifle. I know there's some critics out there from some of the reports, early battlefield use in the GWAT of this. I never used this in Afghanistan or anything. It was not that cool, but I have really, you can't get good help these days. I swear, they're so rude. Right. But like I was saying, I am a fan of how this thing's put together. So there are some wear parts. Now that we've kicked the riffraff off the range, let's get back to the guns. Like I was saying, I'm a fan of the engineering overall in the SCAR. I appreciate some of the issues people have with it, but there are some wear parts in any gun, and the way that they set up the maintenance for this gun, I found intriguing from an engineering standpoint, but I'm kind of a nerd for that, and most of you guys probably don't care about that. So let's talk about how the actual gun works. Like I said before, there's a reciprocating charging handle on this side. New versions don't have the reciprocating charging handle. you know, we got your brass deflector, ambidextrous safety. We've got ambidextrous magazine releases on both sides, bolt catch, bolt release on this side, and, you know, your standard folding stock. This is the upgraded stock, not the UGG boot that it came with. And on this particular SCAR, I've got some kinetic development equipment on this, which I just like because it gives me more rail space, more options for mounting stuff, gets the rail a little bit farther out. Overall, this gun has been extremely reliable. I've only owned it for probably about a year and a half now, and I've only got about 500 or so rounds through it. So I haven't worked it super hard, but I've really enjoyed it. It's done everything I need it to do, but it was pricey. There's no question there. The question is, can you get all of those same performance with some of those features at a drastically reduced price? And can you have it be of similar quality? The answer to some of those questions previously was probably the last question, maybe not. So let's move on to the JAKL. So the JAKL, like I said, base rifle is going to be about the same weight. Also has a folding stock. There are a couple of different stock options for it. It is non-ambidextrous control, so your bolt catch, bolt release, and safety are going to be on this side. Magazine release is going to be on this side. You know that old saying, God and Eugene Stoner got together and put the controls to work for your hands. It's pretty cool. Non-reciprocating charging handle, plenty of rail space, and they sort of took a cue from being, you know, smart people and seeing engineering out there and put more rail space on there. You've got all the flat top rail you need, and you can put everything on this gun that you want. It does suppress really, really well, which is a point that I think is worth mentioning because you void your warranty if you suppress a SCAR, and I look forward to doing that. But this gun is absolutely made to run suppressed, and it runs great suppressed. We were shooting it earlier with a can on it, but I want to do the comparison without the cans because we don't have the can on the SCAR. Like I said, the recoil is very, very similar. And overall, the guns are, you know, similar weight. So performance-wise, they seem to be pretty good. Obviously, we have a few years to see how this holds up once it goes to market and everyone puts a ton of rounds on it. But early, at least test results seem very positive. One thing, however, is that final question, right? We got features, we've got performance, we talked about that, but price. If you can find a SCAR, they're gonna be over $4,000. And that's just the base gun, let alone everything you're gonna put on it. Now, I don't wanna give you hard MSRP on the JAKL right now. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you can go over to Palmetto State Army's website and see for yourself what it is, but it's gonna be below $2,000, probably well below $2,000. And that means that for everything you're looking at on this gun, honestly, with what's got on this gun, you're gonna be able to get the JAKL and all your accessories for less than what you pay for a base SCAR. And that's a hell of a deal. When you start looking at the cost of ammunition, the cost of training, how much your time is worth, this is a fascinating value proposition when it comes to a 308 battle rifle kind of build. Like I said before, there are AR-15 style 308s out there, but they've always lacked in performance or reliability, or just being able to be available, or price. And now all of those questions seem to have really been solved with the 308 JAKL. And another cool thing about the JAKL is that you get to use AR-15 trigger groups, AR-15 grips. You got the 20-round PMags, which are cheap and everywhere. A lot of AR-15 parts are going to work with this. All of your standard M-LOK accessories are going to work with this, and that's not the case for the SCAR. Yes, you can buy aftermarket triggers for the SCAR, but the grips are specific, the triggers are specific. The Kinetic Development Group rail for this, it's fantastic, but it's expensive if you can find them in stock. A lot of things with the SCAR are just special. There's a mystique to that, but at the end of the day, I care more about price and performance than I do about looking cool, despite what you may see on Instagram. So there are some really interesting value propositions, like I said, with the 308 JAKL. So that's an overview of looking at the SCAR versus the JAKL. Last thing to do, dump it out. See if this thing can beat me up. SCAR Assistant. I've got SCAR Assistant money. Thank you, Sarah. Guys, guns are awesome. 308 is awesome. The JAKL seems pretty awesome. We all know that the SCAR is awesome, or at least a flex. So, you know, I don't know. Go buy guns. Go buy 308 guns and put EOTECH on them. Oh, hey, will you look at that? Optics are still tight. Turns out torque spec and quality manufacturing is a thing. And they still work. That's pretty cool. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Got any questions, comments, put them below. You know how social works. Train hard, live free. See you next time. I need like the Game of Thrones chair.